gonna keep saying, let's get streaming until it works. Let's hope it works. If it doesn't work, I'll be really sad. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the stream. First of all, if you can pop a 1 in the chat if you can hear me, that'd be fantastic, because I'm showing us a mic issue on Streamlabs, but I don't understand why. So please shout that in my general direction if you are able to hear me. Thank you very much. But Leeds United have two very big bits of news going on today. The first of which surrounds a player that we've been discussing for a very long time. As we know, Noah Okafor has been en route to the club for quite some time. It was just a question of when exactly that would get specifically done. That has now been gotten done, as Leeds United have officially announced the signing of Noah Okafor. I'm just going to ping us over to the announcement bit. They've not done the announcement article yet, so I can't do that quite yet. But they have basically gone into it a little bit, and the details have been mentioned by Baron Cross, who has said that Leeds United have announced Noah Okafor's signature. AC Milan will be paid up to 21 million euros for the winger. This means that it will be not quite 20 million euros, well, 21 million euros, but there will be add-ons that ultimately build up to that sort of sum of money. It's a move that we all sort of saw coming. Like, we knew that we were going to get Okafor in, because we've known that for a little bit of a long time. But it's good to have 100% across the line and secured and good and fine and lovely and all that kind of stuff. He's not only a kind of guy that can play on the left wing, he has played previously in the 9, he has played on the right-hand side. He's effectively a very good asset to have all the way across that front line. Ideally, obviously, you want to play him in his natural position, which I think is left wing, but in terms of for now, that will absolutely do. The announcement's on the Leeds website. I will head over to there to read through what that says before we get onto the other bit of news, because originally this was going to be on the second bit of news. However, you can't really do that right now, because this Okafur announcement happened at a time I wasn't quite expecting, which is okay. What I reckon happened was they knew that Daniel Farke had his press conference in like a couple of hours' time. I think it's at 2 o'clock today. And the club effectively went, oh, piss. He's going to announce it, isn't he? So that's not... So they just had to go for it early. If we play him on the left, where does that leave Nonto? I don't know, to be completely honest with you. I'll be honest, if he's the better player, I don't mind Nonto missing out on minutes, because that's sort of how that works. Like, that's completely normal. But we'll see. I also like how it's sort of white table and it leans into white background. It's a nice little transition. Leeds United are delighted to announce the signing of Noah Okafor on a 4-year contract subject to a work permit and international clearance. So, to clear something up as well, this picture, very obviously, will have been taken prior to the official announcement, which means that the paperwork was signed. That was a fun hiccup. Prior to the official announcement, which means, in all likelihood, all of the paperwork that will pertain to Noah Okafor is dealt with and done and fine and good. This also specifically includes stuff like registration with the Premier League, which means that he will be eligible to play on Saturday. He'll be eligible to do so because you need to be signed up to your club at noon the day before the first match of that match week. And I think there's a Friday game this week. I'm not 100% certain, but I think there is. He arrives at Elland Road on, where has it gone? A permanent deal from AC Milan can operate in the forward areas across either wing or as a central striker when required to do so. That is a fantastic thing to know, because you've got a nice flexible player that can go all over the shop. That's ultimately what you need. Beginning his career in Switzerland with FC Basel, trickery, pace and eye for goal meant that he was named Swiss Super League Young Player of the Year, which earned him a move to RB Salzburg. This is where people say the thing where it's like, Red Bull player, but it's fine. He's a very good footballer. His stay saw him play over 100 times, registering 57 goal involvements, which is pretty damn good. 4 league titles as well as 3 Austrian Cups, but then again, it's Austria, so yeah. Okafor impressed domestically for his side, played 16 times in the Champions League for them, scoring 6 times. It led him to AC Milan. Not at the best of times, but in his first season he was a regular member of the side who finished runners-up in the league. Following year, played a big role before joining Napoli in the later winter window. Played an important role at the Stadio Diego Armando Maradona, helping Gli Azzurri to win just their 4th ever Scudetto. So he did win a league last season. He might not have got many minutes, but he did win the league, so that's not something to sort of sniff at. Plenty of experience at the international level. Our 9th arrival of a productive summer arrives with the Premier League campaign now underway, following Monday night's late win over Everton. Joining us with some familiar faces, having come up against his side in Dublin. Everyone would like to welcome him to the club and look forward to seeing him make his debut. I am 99% sure that he is completely registered and everything for the match against Arsenal. I don't think he starts, to be completely clear. I don't even know if he plays, because, to be honest with you, like, he's only just come in. He won't be too familiar with anything. There's maybe a chance he ends up on the bench, but I'm not 100% certain. I think it'll be a he's up in the stands kind of job, but we'll have to see. Ultimately, as moves go, this is a very, very, very good one. I'm not going to complain about this in the slightest. Spoken well in the interview makes it clear he's a winger and not a 9. Has he done an interview? Because if so, anyone fancy doing an interview react? It could be worth it. Do we react to the Okafur interview? Yes or no? I'll give it a minute on that poll, and I'll just keep sort of vibing my way through the chat in the meantime. See where we're at. Definitely registered. I think he will be, but there is also the question of, does he immediately get onto the bench, or do we wait a little bit of time, get him trained a touch, and see what direction he's going in? Okay, that seems to be very yes. So, which is fine. Whoever spotted the interview, do you know where it is? Chats to all UTV. Okay, I think I've got the transcript from the interview. I've not got, like, the filmed interview itself, which, sod it, we'll go for it. Leeds confirmed the arrival of Noah Okafor on a 4-year deal from AC Milan. He can play on both wings, central striker role, etc. Speaking to LUTV after signing his contract, he gave his first thoughts. Think it's an amazing day. I'm really excited. As a kid, I dreamed of playing in the Premier League. That's why, for me, it was quite an easy decision. So I said, yeah, my football suits the Premier League. It does, because he's a fairly direct player that likes to really get at his opponents. This is like a dream come true. I can't wait to step on the field. I heard that the Premier League's the best league in the world. It's so intense. I've got loads of friends that played there or are playing there, which is quite good, because it means that he's going to find it a little bit easier to settle. I'm really, really excited. I can't wait. Like I said before, I'm also ready for this new challenge. He'll be linking up with a couple of familiar faces, etc. from the Dublin tour. I know Brendan, he's a friend of mine, used to play with him in Salzburg. Again, that's quite good. It means they're going to be pointing in the right direction from the beginning, and he's not going to have to form a complete new set of sort of like squad integration things. I know Isaac Schmidt, he's from Switzerland, and Lucas Metra I know a little bit. For the other guys, I'm excited to get to know them better. In Dublin, I was like, why are there so many fans in a friendly game? Then I saw on the screen it was 50,000. I was like, wow, which is quite good. It was quite loud, but I heard in the stadium the atmosphere should be crazy. And it's also on the Leeds YouTube. So I'm going to head over to there. I'm going to do so via here, though. Oh, it's a 5-minute interview.
Well,
Holy hell. Okay, right. So I am going to try and not get copyright strikes, because that's happened far too often recently, but we're going to do a little bit of a cheeky reaction to it.
Welcome to Leeds United. Has this been a good day for you?
Yeah, I think amazing day. I'm really excited.
How did the move come about? When did you get to know of Leeds' interest?
Just to be clear, I've sped it up for a specific reason, and that is so we can get through it and I don't get killed by copyright.
To be honest, I knew that there was like before already like few months ago interest. Maybe I don't know, there was maybe like 90% like interest, but after the friendly game against us like 10 days ago, the coach and the sport director called me, and they was like straight through that they want me. And in the end, I feel really, I felt the trust in the team. I think it's a really good decision. I can't wait to get started.
So, what I've got from that one, and to be clear, for YouTube censors, I am reviewing this interview. This counts as, hold on, what's it called? What's it called? Okay, I am reviewing and analysing this clip. I will be reviewing and analysing it from a filmographic perspective and from a fair comment, that's the one, and from a you know, I'm getting an idea of what's happening filmographically, and I'm getting an idea of how he's speaking. Is he particularly good at public speaking? So this is review, and it comes under fair use. Thank you very much, and I that might work. Anyway, back to it. Interesting to note that a significant sort of part of the timeline has just been sort of discussed. So normally you don't get an idea of how long we've had an interest in a player, all that kind of gubbins. But in this instance, we know that we had an interest in him before the Dublin match. But after that point, we had that news sort of develop and we got a little bit more interest. And I feel like it was one of those players that we had at a spot on the list. And then we effectively saw him in person and was like, no, this guy's ridiculous. We need to move him up a bit. And that is kind of good. And it means we're sort of still relying on the eye test when it comes to signing players. It means we're getting a proper idea of the caliber of player that we're signing at the moment. Anyway, let's go on.
So that friendly game that we watched you playing in, was there a bit more on it for you? Did you really want to do well in that one?
Like, I didn't think about that. I just like, I don't care if it's like a friendly game or like a league game. I just always try to give my best. And yeah, and then everything I think happened for a reason.
I mean, you played.
That's sort of generic. Also, on the lighting, it's a quite nice warm lighting. Even though he's wearing blue, it could be like reasonably assessed that it's a sort of like a colder blue instead with the warm lighting. That's kind of beneficial. It gives him a sort of like positive hue when coming into the club. However, generic answer, so I would maybe pad that out a little bit next time, Noah. For a little bit of context, I'm having to review things to call it fair comment. But we'll keep on going.
Well, I thought in the game. Did you feel the same yourself?
Yeah, I did. I played well. It was
Yes, you pulled Isaac Schmidt apart.
really hot, and it was like for the season like 90 minutes the first time. So I think yeah, I get like a lot of good feedbacks. Yeah, really happy about that, but more happy to be here now.
When you walked out the tunnel.
Hold on, the dog is screaming. Hello, hello. Can you hear him? Just to check. Hello. Doing? Hang on. Come on. In. No, not there. Come on. Yeah, he can hear another dog outside howling, which is probably causing a problem. Anyway, let's go.
At the Aviva Stadium in Dublin, and you looked around the stadium. What did you think?
I was like, what? Why so many fans at a friendly game? And then I
You
saw
are
on the
getting
screen
that
it was
feeling.
like 55 or 56,000 like fans. From 55 was like 53 or 52 was Leeds fans and 3 was Milan fans. So I was like, whoa. And it was like quite loud. But I heard like in the stadium, it's like the atmosphere should be crazy, yeah?
Is that an important part of it?
So, right, this is a genuine from like an assessment point of view and a review point of view. I think what they've done there is quite clever in terms of the video edit because there's a lot of highlights that you could take from the Dublin match for Noah Okafor. There's a lot of things that you could sort of like look at and you could be like, okay, cool, here's him nutmegging like 3 or 4 different players. But I absolutely love that whoever did the edit was like, right, okay,
Quite loud. But
he's going to run up to Dan James. He's not going to beat him. He's going to turn back because Dan James is a key part of the squad. However, Isaac Schmidt turned inside out. Clever. I like it. It's smart. It protects the image of the other players.
Of the decision you've made coming somewhere where there's this huge enthusiasm and love for the game?
I think also, yeah, for me, the most important part is like to hear about the feelings inside, to be like comfortable most as possible, and spoke with the coach was for me like also like quite important with the sport director, of course with my family and the closest people around me. So I was like, since I had this feeling, I was like always positive, and I think yeah, I should do it, and yeah, I'm really very excited.
I'm a fan of that. I'm a fan of the idea that he is very much behind. I like a club that has that sort of united feeling and a fan base that pushes really, really, really hard. Bit of a weird one, Anthony. But I like the fact that he very, very clearly cares about the club that he's in, the atmosphere, and he cares about sort of having a fan base behind him. That's a really, really positive aspect to having a player. And again, he's speaking really well. I'm enjoying it.
Are you one of those people who's always fancied the chance to play in the Premier League?
As a kid, I dreamed to play in the Premier League. That's why for me it was like quite a decision. I say, yeah, my football suits the Premier League. So this is like a dream came true. First I have to sign the paper, and then I can't wait to step on the field.
It's a really tough league. You'll know that. You've played in a tough league anyway. You've been in Serie A, so you know high standards required, and it's very much the case in the Premier League. Are you looking forward to that challenge?
Yeah, I heard like the Premier League should be like, it's the best league in the world. It's so intense. I have loads of friends that played there or playing there. Yeah, I'm really, really excited and can't wait, like I said before already. Yeah, and I'm also ready for this new challenge.
Again, fair enough. That's one of those sort of general sort of PR-y answers. You can tell that he's someone that has done media work quite a lot because he's very good at sort of giving those answers out that are exactly what you sort of want to hear as a fan. But it's still a positive. Like, I'm not going to look at that and go, how dare he give those good answers? Like, I mean, fair enough. Like, I don't mind someone that's being media trained because it kind of helps. Like, let's be honest. Anyway, into more of the meat of it. And again, I'm quite liking the edit on this as well. Just the way that occasionally it'll like cut into a closer thing when he's being a little bit more like talking about his experiences. It opens up the sort of vulnerability side of it, which is quite clever.
Leeds have obviously played the first game of the season and won the first game. Did you watch the Everton game?
Yeah, I watched it. It was crazy. So many like shots and chances, and I was so happy if they scored.
You can see the look on his face there. Was like there were so many shots and chances. This man is desperate. He is begging to get into the side to just be like, there were so many shots and chances, and I want to be on the end of those. And that's what you want to see from your forwards. That is a fantastic thing to have in a player. Just that hunger that they're not even like properly embedded yet, and they're still trying to like jump on in. I love it.
Like at 86 minutes, I was really happy. And it's always good to start with 3 points in the season. So now we have to just keep forward and give every day the best in training, and yeah, try to make better because every game is tough. So we have to be ready physically and also mentally.
You're a striker.
Again, that's the sort of fair enough stuff. I like the way that he used we, because like he is a brand new player and it's easy enough to slip into, and it'd be great for Leeds too. But the fact that he's talking about the club in the first person is a very, very smart and also engaged thing to do. I'm a big fan of that part.
But we saw you playing in a wide role as well for Milan in the friendly.
This is the bit that I want to know. I want to know where he wants to play, because that's going to be interesting.
Is the striker your favourite position?
No, I'm like, my favorite position is like on the wing. I play on the left wing, this is my position. But I can play, like in case something is a striker or with 2 strikers. I used to play with 2, but my position is left wing. And this is where I can put my most quality on the pitch and help the team.
I like it. I like being in the position of, look, I've been played as a striker. I don't like playing as a striker. Therefore, I'm a winger. Please let me be a winger. If something goes wrong, I can be a second striker in a 4-4-2 kind of thing. But I'm a winger. Please, 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 I'm a winger. I'm a fan of that because he's setting out his stall very, very early. And also what Andrew said. If you pop a like on the stream, it's a little freebie. It's nice. And also if anyone has any questions about any of this, chuck them in the chat and we'll continue our little review. Also, Bryn, doing very well, asking good questions that are leading the respondee in the right direction while still giving him flexibility to do bits and bobs.
You like to score goals, I think, don't you?
Of course.
And is that something you hope to do with Leeds United?
Of course.
So you'll be looking forward to getting involved with the group. Do you know anything about the squad that you're joining? Any of the guys in the squad?
I know Brendan Aronson. He's a friend of mine. I used to play with him in Salzburg a couple years ago. And also Isaac Schmidt. He's from Switzerland, from the French part. Yeah, in Mecha, I know a little bit. So, and for the other guys, I'm excited to get them know better.
You're looking forward to this new challenge then?
Yeah, of course. And to score my first goal in the stadium.
We can't wait. Good luck.
Thank you.
Tell you what, that is a very, very good interview. As first interviews go, that's incredibly solid. Covered all of the bases that you realistically need to cover as a brand new signing, discussed not only the fan base, but him as a player, and I quite liked that, the idea that, like, fans aren't just getting your sort of generic, Leeds are a big club, and I've always wanted to play in the Premier League, and we did get those, but also that little bit more detail around, okay, so you've been considered a striker, but you've also played on the wing, what do you consider yourself? Having that sort of detail is very, 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 very nice because it means that you learn that little bit more about a player that you can't necessarily get just from someone's numbers. Like, if you have a look at Stuart Dallas's positions that he's played in, almost exclusively, you're going to think, I don't know where this guy considers himself as a player. That's something that you would need to ask. And having that question come across and having that answered very, very clearly is very nice. I'm a fan of it. But also, yes, what has been said down in this corner, pop a like on the stream. It's live. Not live. It's free. But also, you can subscribe as well. Absolutely lovely. Thank you very much. That's also free. And it helps the channel to sort of keep on chugging and make sure that I'm able to like do it consistently rather than having to sort of dip in, dip out and get a little bit spooked. Hi Kid Stormlight, I was watching the Okafur stuff. Seems like a very nice young man and I actually get the feeling he wants to be here. That is also true. Be handy if he can take a corner. Harrison needs to dig out his boot, cleaning brushes. They're going to be useful very soon. It depends on if we can find him a move. That's sort of the issue. Because I think the place where we have, if anything, too much depth right now is the left wing. And it's going to be a case of if anyone is able to find a move onwards, or at least like on loan, I know there's been that Ramazani conversation, then it needs to be considered. Because I don't think we're in a position to keep on like stacking up those signings that aren't necessarily going to be adding depth to the areas we need it, such as fullback. Like we can do one more signing before we need to get someone out. So that's tricky, I think. Loved your review, Joe Chop Show. Thank you very much. Yes, that was a review, and I review that as a, I'll call it an 8 out of 10 interview. I think he spoke very well. The questions were very good. The edit was quite good. But I think a little bit more dynamism, a little bit more in terms of like match clips would be quite good. Any update on the fullback stuff? I will have a quick look shortly. The main sort of topics on this stream were going to be well, initially it was just going to be a Demirovic stream. And then some little bastard announced his signing. And that caused a few problems. But we pivoted, and then we'll go in the direction of Demirovic in a moment, at the very least. But still, again, what I'm going to do, actually, I'm going to do a poll. And it's going to take me a moment. Because I'm doing it all professional-like. But I want to know where people are sitting on the window so far. And how it compares to where I'm sitting on the window so far. Because I know we've got a wide range of opinions in the fan base, but sometimes those opinions are scary. I think Harrison's the left wing, protects points as a sub. Ramazani's the wood behind him, we need a spark sub. Thoughts? That makes sense, but then if Okafor comes into the 11 and Nonto drops to the bench, one of those two needs to drop. So I'm getting increasingly tempted to maybe say that we could do, and I know that a lot of people are going to be mad at this, we could do with maybe, if, like, assuming Jack Harrison can't find a move, it's going to sort of have to be Ramazani. Which I don't want to say, but it's kind of the reality of the situation right now. Right, I'm going to bring up the 25 as it stands, though, as requested. Why does that change the size? Sorry, you're 42. Cool. There we go. And then... Right, so this is, for context, going to be a list of the players that Leeds have registered. Or at least are having registered. Peru, Charlie Darley, Aaron Son, Grove Harrison, and then this could take a moment. Sorry about this. Metro, Longstaff, Byram, Borno, Ramazani, DCL, Beal, Cairns, Okafur, and then we'll call this one open, just to sort of make that clear. Get rid of that. Bosh. Right, so this is the list of players that Leeds United currently have or will definitely have registered at the club. I say definitely. Mostly these are definite, right? So you got Perry, who we know is registered because he's played. We got Bogle, we got Strack, we got Roden, we got Goodmanson. Everything that is up to DCL is definitely registered because all of these players have been in a Premier League squad this season so far. Let's move that up a bit. So if I turn that green, these players are green because they are already registered as players. Beal will be registered because he is going to be a very, very big option. DCL will be registered because otherwise we wouldn't fucking signed him. Okafor will be registered because, again, you don't pay a fee for players that you don't necessarily get. This leaves one spot open, which is presumably going to be for the fullback. And it leaves Alex Cairns, who we don't know about. In fact, right, hold on. There's a rule that I need to check. Premier League registration rules, goalkeepers. Right, okay. I'm going to read through the rules specifically, right? Premier League squads are looking to refresh their squads, but in doing so, they'll aware of the 25-man squad list they'll have to submit after the window closes on the 1st of September. So we can, any of these players here, can be unregistered. If they get a move somewhere else, they can be registered elsewhere. But let's continue on. Each squad's list must follow certain rules. Each club squad must contain no more than 17 players who don't fulfill the homegrown player criteria. The rest of the squad, up to a total of 25, must be homegrown. Homegrown means a player who, irrespective of nationality or age, has been registered with any club affiliated to the FA or FA of Wales for a continuous period of 3 entire seasons before his 21st birthday. A club's under-21 players are not included in that list. They are also eligible to play in the Premier League. Yeah, Nonto missed the sort of age limit. For the 25-26 season, under 21 players will have to have been born on or after the 1st of January 2024? 2004. That'd be under ones. To understand more what squad lists look like, below the ones submitted by clubs midway through last season, etc., etc., etc. We can't see those because we don't need to because Leeds aren't on there. But this is already excluding the likes of Melier, the likes of Bamford. Anyone that is almost certainly on the way out isn't in this list. Schmidt isn't in this list, as another example. But it leaves Cairns as probably not being registered because, as was mentioned by Hannah down below, it's probably going to be Rory Mahady. But Cairns can be the vibesman. I don't mind having a vibesman. And then you get questions of who can realistically nip off. Because if you're looking at like shifting things around because you need depth, you've got to sort of consider things a bit. So Cairns is definitely in that yellow category. Cairns is in the... I'm going to make it orange, actually. Cairns is one of the orange players that is reasonably, we can expect us to not register them. Beyond that, you're struggling a bit. Because you can't do Byram. Because Sam Byram is the backup fullback from this big list. You've only got Sam Byram at the moment until we hit that open slot. What did you miss? Noah Okafor has been announced. We did a full and thorough review of his announcement from the club, and it was definitely a review because we covered things like cinematography in order to make sure that I didn't get copyright killed. But yeah, all of that. And then you got to look for other players to potentially shift on. Which gives you some questions, I think, because who beyond Alex Cairns goes? Stroke's not homegrown, misses by a few months. That is genuinely a pain in the ass. But realistically, if you're looking at players that can go, it's no... if it's from this list, probably talking Largy. I know a lot of people will hate that, but he's the one from that list that can go. If you're looking down here, there's been conversation around Gruev, but I'm going to argue that Gruev can't go because we saw in that last match that Gruev is your depth for Ethan Ampadu. In terms of that defensive midfield spot, you need someone. And that's sort of what Gruev's job is. So Gruev doesn't go, in my opinion. There's maybe Jack Harrison, if we're able to find interest. Do we need to get rid of anyone? There's still 2 spots. There's only 1 spot, unless we're not registering Cairns. But that's where the confusion is. Because amongst these, none of these leave. Because that's your first team. Darlow doesn't leave. Aronson, we know he has a role to play this season. Gruev is maybe one of the question marks. But Harrison, Brendan Aronson, Largy Ramazani could all go. I don't think so. Largy on a loan is one that I think is genuinely feasible. And one that I'm not that mad at right now. Could be something we don't expect. It could. But I don't see us releasing any of that starting 11. Because the last thing that you do is release one of those first team players. Because you're just going to do more damage to yourself than anyone else. And that is not what you need when you are a side that has very recently been promoted. That would be a bad idea. So for me, we've got 2 slots. We've got the Cairns, we've got the open one. In fact, Leeds United registered squad. Okay, so I can't use the Premier League website as source because that's still showing that Ilham Melier is on the list, and Ilham Melier is not going to be on the list. Ilham Melier is going to be moving on. And I believe, hold on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Fucking brain, come on. 4, 8, 12, 13, 17, 20. Yeah, Premier League website already has us having 26 players, which isn't accurate and isn't doable. It's got Sam Chambers on there, I guess. But, yeah. I don't know. It's difficult. Why would we get Uche and Demirovic? I'm right in thinking that Uche is a forward. It's Chris Stantis, right? Oh, midfielder. No, midfielder that can play as a forward. We don't need Uche. We don't need Uche even a little bit. Who's our right wing apart from James? That's another concern, I think. I think your other right winger is Aronson at the minute. Because Nonto can play there, but he doesn't particularly like to. Uche's a midfield attacker, he's a 10. Okay, sure, but like looking at the suggestion that was for Uche, you've not helped out the right flank. I think, because the way that you got to look at it, right, I'm going to do a big squad list thing. I'm going to consider each player as being able to play in only one position. So, if we're going with Perry, going with Darlow, and that's it, then I will just do a big list of the centre-backs. So, hold on, I need to chunk with that, not that spacing. Thank you. Because for some reason it spaces it massively apart. Right, okay, centre-backs. Strauch will be considered a centre-back. Rodon, Beal, and Bono. Cool. There's your centre-backs. Can someone keep account of the players? So we're at 6. Then on the right you've got Bogle, and I'll consider Byron more of a right back than a left back. That's 8. Go on the left, and it's currently literally just Goodmanson. Goodmanson, because I can't be bothered writing the entire thing every single time. List of midfielders. I'm going to split into 6s and 8s, I think. Just to get a better idea. So you got Ampadu, and I'd consider Gruev more of a 6. Then you got the central midfield roles. You've got Tanaka, you've got Stack, you've got Longstaff. I think that's it for midfield options. Yes. Okay. Cool. Then you got to look at the wings. So we know that Dan James is a right winger. That's fine. Then you go over to the left, and you go, oh, okay. Stack is a 6. He's played there a lot. Yeah, but he's not. That's not his primary role. If that was his primary role, he would have played there against Everton. I'm just doing main positions for this section. So you start with Nonto, then you also have... In fact, I was going to put Aronson over here. Although it's not his best spot, like it is his role. So Nonto, you've got Harrison, you've got Ramazani, and you've got Okafor. Then in the 9, you've got DCL, because I think he might be the first choice. You've got Peru, and you've got Mecha. So that already is 3, 7, 10, 12, 14, 15, 19, 23. So if you go a bit further down, you go backup fullback, because we'll need one of those. And then from this point, we can sign a player in one place, without having to get rid of people. And when people are talking about players that you can get rid of, everyone's sort of saying, well, we can get rid of Ilya Gruev. Well, no, because then you've only got one starting 6. Because Stack, again, is better in the 8. Realistically, I think the smarter move is to unstack this part of the pitch. In theory, what you want to do is you want to get one of these two and you want to move something over here. Just to make sure that everything's a little bit more secure. Because that right wing is looking a little bit squishy. Because, yeah, Nonto can play over there, but if Nonto is our starting left winger, he might be, he might not be. We don't know yet. This is looking too full. So I'm going to have to ask the question that a lot of people won't be necessarily happy with. Also, on the poll, we've got 35% very satisfied, 57 satisfied, 3 unsatisfied, and 5% are very unsatisfied. Why are you very unsatisfied? That one confuses me. I don't know what we've done that's very unsatisfactory enough for like 4 of you to vote that it's a bad window. I think it's been great. Shit. I don't know if you can hear the dog. If you can, I'm sorry. So I'm going to ask the poll, would you be okay with the Ramazani loan? I'll be 1 second to get the dog. I'm afraid I have beef with the square ball now, because it was my copy of the square ball for the month that the dog was starting a fight with. So if anyone from TSB is in the chat, we've got beef now. Anyway, hangover from Peugeot. I mean, that doesn't make it sane, you know. I still don't. I don't think if you look at this season so far and go, it's not good enough. Sorry, what? We got 9 players in, and they're all very, very, very good players. Have you heard anything about Harrison being marked as a left back? I've not heard a single thing about Jack Harrison. I'll be completely honest with you. Like Jack Harrison, in terms of transfer talk and conversations around that, has gone completely dead, which is a bit weird because I thought like if he was going to be doing anything, he would have done it by now. But I don't know. 83% of you would be okay with him going on loan. Just right on that. If you are someone that voted that yes, you'd be okay with him leaving on loan, can you pop a number 1 in the chat if that is because of the fact we've now signed Noah Okafor? Is it a case of we've got someone in that can do that job now, so it's okay to go out on loan? Is that the sort of thinking behind it? Because I think that makes sense. That seems like a very yes. He's on 90k a week, he'll never be leaving. He'll be a very good squad player and cover for Goodmanson if required. I don't know if he's a straight up left back though. I've never. One, but I'd rather lose Jackie. I don't think there's anyone that would prefer Harrison to Ramazani, but if there is, that's fine. But I don't know. Ramazani would be a good sub if we're chasing goal. He would, but then again, so would a Nonto or an Okafor. So like we've got that extra depth there now, which makes it quite complex, I think. It adds that little bit of confusion to the situation. Right, and with all of this in mind, with the fact that we know we have very little space in the squad at the minute, and the fact that we have one more story to discuss on this stream, I'm going to do one more poll. If you are looking at this depth chart, would you like the club to sign Demirovic, who is a striker? He's a very good striker, I'll admit to that, but is that a signing that we necessarily got to do? I'm kind of curious. If we can get 15 for Amazonia and sell, I think no. For me, I think you'll loan him out. I think you loan Ramazani out because we know he's got a really high ceiling. You don't sell a player with that potential for 15 million. Yes, but want someone to go out on loan / sell in order to get another right winger. Yeah, I can see that. Loan Ramazani back to Spain. Why Spain? Is it so we can beat Mallorca? That's the dream. No, what we do is we say to Betis, okay, if you want a winger, we've got Laji Ramazani. You wanted a Leeds United attacker, didn't you? How about this one? See how that goes. But we do have to cover the Demirovic news. So, if I head over to everyone's favourite internet hellhole of Twitter, one of the more reliable Bundesliga reporters has had a bit of a word on Ermedin Demirovic, which is always a fun name to say. Ermedin Demirovic remains a player to watch until deadline day. That is a very heavy implication, right? And this, I'm going to sort of like, I'm going to explain the sort of probable behind the scenes of how this conversation happens, because this feels very much like an agent has gone, by the way, my player might be on the move. Because that's the sort of general feeling that I get out of this. But Ermedin Demirovic remains a player to watch until deadline day. VfB, being Stuttgart, wants to keep him. However, there have been many inquiries from the Premier League, most recently from Leeds and Nottingham Forest. His contract runs until 2028. Demirovic is only willing to consider top offers. That line right there also makes me lean towards the something's come out from the agent part. Because Demirovic is only willing to consider top offers feels to me like going, by the way, you're gonna have to pay me a lot of cash. You're gonna have to pay out if you want this. And I was like, I back it from the agent because it's like, yeah, you get that dough, but it don't feel good, and it means that we'd have to pay a little bit more, which is a little bit of a concern. But I'm kind of curious about what the chat are thinking on that one. It'd be amazing something better if that's not on the Demirovic bit. There are more times we're going to be behind in games, so we need Ramazani, not Harrison. Forest out of contention. Are they? Wolfie, Nottingham Forest fan. Nottingham Forest FC TV said they wouldn't. That's such a fucking mouthful. Said they wouldn't go for him because they have enough now. Only willing to consider top offers. See you later, bro. Good luck. Demirovic can pay his wages easily. Forest no longer in since Callum Wendo came in. We haven't paid any top dollar yet. Forest have got 4 strikers now. If we sign Demirovic, I can see Joel Pirou either being utilised as 10 or sold or loaned. 100k, if DCL is on it, he should be. We don't know what DCL's on, though. The DCL wage stuff is just rumour. There's no firm news around that we've had from anybody. Which is a bit of an odd one. Anyway, what are people saying? Should I go to Forest? Something. Current indications. Yeah, this has been learned. This was known before the AI thing. The AI thing has just sort of picked this up from general conversation. But Stuttgart signed Demirovic for about 20 million last year, which means that odds are they would want a significant profit on that. The specific sort of rumoured numbers are in the 35 to 40 million euro range, which would be a very big move. That would be a hell of a deal. I say deal as if, not a bargain. It would be a big outlay to be paying, which I don't mind chucking a bit of money on a player. That's fine. It's more you got to make sure that the player does the bits that you want the player to do. Specifically in terms of his numbers, go to Ermedin Demirovic. I still have that concern about the fact that the guy's had 10 clubs. It's a bit concerning considering that he's 26. But he's a very, very consistent finisher. So looking at goals for the last 2 seasons in the Bundesliga, for Augsburg, managed to get himself 15 in the 23-24 season. Then he moved to Stuttgart, where he lost a third of his minutes. So he did play 32 90s when he was at Augsburg, then moved to Stuttgart, where he played 20.6 90s, and he still scored 15 goals. This guy's conversion rate is ridiculous. So, having a look specifically, goals per shot. He took 64 shots across the season. 1 in 4 went in, which is kind of ridiculous. Joe Wayman said this morning he doesn't believe we don't have a problem signing new players and squad size because we've been including the under-21s. I don't know what you mean. Are you saying that because we've put 21s in the squad isn't too big? Is that the kind of vibe that we're going at? Because, sure, but also if you look at the specific names of the players that are in the squad, I can only see a couple that might not be registered if I cut back over to it. So realistically, there's only a few that might open up, and we need that fullback. That fullback, for me, is non-negotiable. That has to be a signing that we do. Because the moment Bogle gets injured and Byram gets injured, you're down to Gudmundsson, and then you ask Jack Harrison, well, do you want to play on the other side? You don't have any under-21s. I know I don't have any under-21s because you don't need to add them to the numbers. You've got 25 spots for senior players. This is already without the 21s, and this is 25 slots. The reason that I've not put Gray and Chambers and Mahady in is because you don't need to put them in. This is realistically where the limit is. We've got one more genuine open spot, and then we need people to go out. Bono will play right back if Bogle or Byram are unavailable. Sure, but that's still not great, is it? we're in the sort of territory of, yeah, well, Voba can play at left back. And no one enjoyed that at the time. Gone quiet on Justin, not sure if that's good or bad with how the Niners operate. Yeah, it's a little bit of a complicated one. It's one of I would like it to be good news. I don't know if it is, but we'll have to find out, I suppose. It depends on what his injury is. Because... Right, in fact, I'm going to find out when Leicester City's press conference is. And then in 5 minutes, I will ping you over to Joe Wanman. Because I'm just gonna, because he's doing a thing. I don't think they're doing one. Which is shut up. Which sucks a little bit. No wait, yeah, they're just not. They don't do the press conferences, which is a pain because it would be good to know how James Justin is doing. But yes, I saw Peru had some offers and he decided not to leave, which is interesting. Apparently going by salary leak, DCL's on 6.2 million euros and 120k a week. I'm going to go to Capology and see, because they tend to be very reliable on this sort of stuff. Yeah, solid, Simicast. Why not? I'm going to recommit to it. Calvert-Lewin does not yet have a wage on Capology, which is the site that I tend to trust more. Capology is not updated yet. I know. Well, I'll be in Joe Wayman's chat. I will be for a bit, but then I've got more tiling to get up from the floor. And we will also be shouting about cheese again, probably. Why Uche? Like, what's the benefit of getting Uche in? I don't see it. At that point, if you're saying largely out for Uche, right? If I have a look at Uche's numbers. Cristantos. A lot of people are looking at the fact that in his last match, he scored, he got an assist. Cool. That's not big scale. That's small. That is, he's done it in a match. Whereas if you look at his like actual significant numbers, playing as a forward, last season he got 10 GNA combined. Which is cool, but I don't think it's worth the faff of, yeah, well, we got to faff around with open squad slots and all that kind of stuff. That's just not, it's not worth it. Uche's an 8 or a 10, but we're sorted in the 8. That's the problem. The 8 is fine. Simicast is linked to Marseille. I'll be honest, if Simicast goes to Marseille, I didn't want him in the first place. Because Marseille are too busy beating each other up to work out what's going on there. Like someone mentioned in the chat earlier, like, well, I mean, Rabiot's going on. I was like, yeah, Rabiot is for sale now. Rabiot's for sale because he started a fight with his teammate. That's not what we need. That's hardly like promotion-friendly vibes, you know? Farker clearly doesn't trust Largy, that's why. Or he just trusts other players more. Like last season, everyone was like, yeah, Largy needs to start. Realistically, Largy doesn't need to start. Realistically, Manor Solomon was on a fucking tear. And you don't drop players when they're on such good form. Largy dropped out of the side because he got an injury and he couldn't work his way back in past Manor Solomon. That was it. I don't think it's a case of trust. I think it's a case of he wasn't on the level. So I don't know what happens with Largy, but... Oh, I know, it's all good. But I just... He's not on the list of we desperately need to keep this player, for me. Because there's more important places for us to be looking. That's just my opinion. But what I'm going to do, with that said, is I'm going to bring the stream to a close in a moment, because I've noticed that Mr. Wayneman is live. So if you haven't yet, I'd massively appreciate you popping a like on the stream. It's currently at 81. Getting that beyond 100 would be spectacular. If you could subscribe as well, that'd be lovely. It means that I can do this a little bit more consistently and I'm not so reliant on having to stare at Microsoft Teams to see if I need to respond to a notification whilst I'm on stream. That's happened today, which is fun. And you could become a channel member as well. It's $2.99 a month, and it very, very, very genuinely helps me to sort of do this a little bit more often. Anyway, hope you all enjoyed, and I will be seeing you later, amigos. Toodle pip. Also, we're shouting cheese at Wayneman again. That is unending. We must shout cheese. See you shortly.